All right, so I hyped this up so much, and here it is. In today's video, you are going to see an unboxing of my newest shipment from Parts Express. So let's cut this box open and have a look at what the contents are inside. Now, hopefully this isn't a disappointment to anyone, because I sure as hell am excited to look at this box. It's just full of components. So let's just, oh my God. There's stuff everywhere. What's this? This is a crossover. This is a Parts Express crossover. We also have another one here in a box that looks like it got absolutely smashed in shipping. Just comes straight out of the box there. The crossover is actually much heavier than I thought it would be, so stick that to the side. I'll pop that back in a box later on. Here we have some precision ports here. So these will obviously be my ports for, well, I'll just let you know once I've done it. We have, again, another precision port. Pop that to the side. And then we have another precision port. Let's pop that to the side. And another precision port. That's right, 4 of these ports here. 2-inch flared ports to 5¼ inch flares. It's massive. Then here we have some, oh my God, they're actually ridiculous. High power terminals here, which will be used in this project. Whoops, I just knocked that crossover over. I'm actually gonna stick this one back in its box because it's bothering me that it's not, because everything else is. So that one just got smashed around, obviously, in shipping. Here we have a couple of 100 packs of 3/4 inch black screws, purely because if you have seen my recent build videos, especially with like the subs here, I just use some wood screws, paint the top with some black spray paint, and that's what I've been using to get blacked out screws. So now that I actually have some black screws, this is gonna be much, much nicer. But anyway, now, more, just more protection for the stuff inside. Here we have another invoice for all the stuff I've ordered. Let's pop that to the side, and the view that I have right now is ridiculous. Here we have 2 more of those high power terminals. I'll get some close-ups of everything, by the way, in a minute. 2 more high power terminals. Let's just quickly think. Just pause the video for a second after I mention this. 5 terminal cups. What do you reckon I could be building? Drop that comment down below right now, and let's start with a product. Here we have a Neo Series 5¼ inch driver. Now I'm gonna start piling these up. Let me just move these scissors. I'm gonna pile these up over here because I need to count the numbers of these just to make sure. Here we have a 5¼ inch Neo Series driver. This is the ND, oh man, what's the model on this? This is the ND140-8, so an 8 ohm 5¼ inch. Here we have the ND91-8, so the 3½ inch Neo's woofer. Here we have an Air Motion tweeter, so same as my other Daytons. Here we have another Air Motion tweeter. And another Air Motion tweeter. And here we have a 4-inch ND105 woofer. So I'm just gonna be counting these components here to the side as well. We have 2-way crossover, another 2-way crossover, another 2-way crossover. So I'm gonna do 2 Parts Express crossovers for my rears. This is massive spoilers now if you were guessing. And these 2 bottom ones here are 3.5 kilohertz for the fronts and a 4.5 kilohertz for the center. So they're my crossovers. There's all my terminals, there's my screws, there's my ports for the towers that'll be at the front of the room. Let's keep going. Here we have a planar tweeter. This is a massive tweeter that I'm gonna be using. Well, it's not even a tweeter. Massive, nice planar tweeter. I just said it again. It is a tweeter that I'm gonna be using for the front towers. So I'm gonna pop that there. So these are all the things that I'm counting in numbers, so I make sure I have everything I ordered. Another planar tweeter. This one's sort of open, so I'm just gonna have a, wow, that is ridiculous. Oh my God. The size of that tweeter is ridiculous. But anyway, there's the second planar tweeter. So 3 Air Motion tweeters here, the rears, center, and the planar tweeters left and right. So now let's dive in again. We have another ND105 4-inch woofer. Let's pop that with the other one. Here we have another ND105 4-inch woofer. Here we have a ND91 3.5-inch woofer. Now, let's grab this one. Another ND105, a 4-inch woofer again. So we have the 4-inch woofers with the Air Motion tweeter that I will be using for the center. As well as that for the rears, I'm gonna be using these ND91-8s along with a Air Motion tweeter for my rear speakers. And the fronts, 5 1/4. All right, there's another 5 1/4. There's another 5 1/4. There's another 5 1/4. There's another 5 1/4. Here's another 5 1/4. And another 5 1/4. That is the leaning tower. I hope that doesn't fall over. But there we have it. My next build that is going to be on my channel. We have, let's just quickly go over this right now. We have 4-inch neodymium woofers that I'll be using for the center channel alongside an Air Motion tweeter and a 2-way 4.5 kilohertz crossover. Then for the rear speakers, I'm going to be using a 3.5-inch ND91 along with another Air Motion tweeter and these Parts Express crossovers that are back here in this box that just got completely destroyed. And I'm sorry if I sound sick, by the way, I am. But I'm going to be using these for the rears because they are much smaller than those ones over there, because crossovers, these pre-assembled ones, are actually really, really big. It's going to be using those for the rears so I can fit them in the enclosure at the back of the room. And then the two 3.5 kilohertz crossovers, sorry, these ones here are 4.5, I believe. Nope, they are 5 kilohertz crossovers. So I'm going to be using the 5 kilohertz crossovers at the rears, 4.5 kilohertz for the center with, again, Air Motion tweeters, the woofers, the 4 woofers here for the center. And then I'm going to be crossing the towers at the front at 3.5 kilohertz with a planar tweeter and 4 ND10, whatever the model is, the 5 1/4-inch ones for each side of the left and right. And then they're also going to be rear ported with these 2-inch ports here. So now what I'm going to start doing is just having a look through all this stuff. And all of this stuff here is new to me. I've never had any experience with any of this bar these crossovers and these tweeters because I use these and those crossovers, in particularly this top one here in my Dayton Towers that we all know and love. So there is pretty much the project. Now let's have a closer look at everything. All right, so here we are now looking down on the components. Now I'm just gonna be opening one of everything just purely to have a quick look at it and save this video from being excessively long. So first things first, let's start with one of these terminal cups that I was mentioning, how ridiculously big these things are. So let's just try and get this out. There you go. Look how big those terminals are. We can see there, these things are the size of my fingers. These are going to be absolutely ridiculous. I'd say that accepts up to probably 8 gauge. Absolutely ridiculous amounts of terminal there. That's going to be absolutely super heavy duty for these speakers. It's going to work ridiculously well. Now let's have a quick look at the Parts Express crossover that went for a little bit of an adventure in the box here. So I'm just going to quickly pull through this tape. And here we have a Parts Express crossover here, which I'm going to imagine we just share the ground between the two, and then we have the input for the positive, the woofer positive, and the tweeter positive. So this will work fine. We also have a big fuse, a couple of things, and this will be perfect for my rear speakers. So pop that back in its little bag, and I will stick that back into its box. All right, so now let's have a quick look at the Precision port box. If I can figure out how to open it, we'll have a quick look inside to see what we have inside of this box, because I'm actually not really quite sure what's going to be in here, purely because I just don't know. So let's open this up. This is, I don't know why that's glued together, but there we have it. We have a massive, sorry that was out of frame, a massive flare on the end of what is a 2-inch port, which should be ample for my speakers. Then I'd say these end pieces here just attach on with this extending piece here, and I can cut these ports to be whatever length I would like them to be. So this is going to work absolutely awesome. And here as well is the input side as well, which is flared, so the port will look like that. and mount perfectly into the enclosure. So I got to use this ring here, attach that over, and this will work perfectly for my ports inside of this enclosure. So now that we've had a look at the ports, let's have a closer look at a AirMotion tweeter. All right, so here we are with the AirMotion tweeter box. We'll just quickly open this up and we're greeted with some basic styrofoam. We remove that, we are greeted here with the faceplate for the tweeter here, of course, which mounts the tweeter in because there is actually no screws on the outside of this. Sorry, so as I was saying before my camera stopped recording, here is the AirMotion tweeter itself. Let me just get focus on that. There is the tweeter itself, and this is what's going to be putting out amazing highs for my center channel and my rear channels. Now let's have a look at a planar tweeter. All right, so here we are with the planar tweeters, and this will be my first time with working with anything like this. So if we have a look inside, look at that. I have huge hands, to be straight up honest with you. That is an absolutely ridiculous tweeter. This thing is going to be absolutely awesome. Let's remove this. I am so excited. I've never used anything like this before. This is going to sound absolutely awesome in these speakers. I am so excited to be using these tweeters. Anyway, now let's have a quick look at the Dayton Audio pre-assembled crossovers. I am so excited to be using a build with these tweeters. These things are going to sound awesome. So let's move over to one of the crossovers now. All right, so here we are with the Dayton Audio crossover, and this one here requires me to quickly just cut through it. So now let's have a look. Again, just like any other Dayton Audio crossover, excessively big. So if you are planning on ordering one of these, this is why I didn't use these for my Bluetooth speaker build, purely because look at the size of that. It's absolutely ridiculous. They've got to be this size to be of this higher quality. But anyway, there is the massive 4.5 kilohertz crossover, identical to what is used in my T-Line tower speakers for anyone who is curious, alongside the reference series woofer and an AirMotion tweeter. So they're the components that my other Dayton Towers build has consisting of, but I'm going to be using these crossovers again for my center channel. My center channel, purely because I am really happy with the quality of them, and I would definitely use them again and highly suggest them. So now that we've had a look at the crossover, let's have a look at the 3.5-inch ND series woofers. Now I've seen these things all over YouTube, and I'm not gonna lie, I've been a massive fanboy of them. So the fact that in today's video I get to actually have a look at these woofers in person, I am extremely excited now for this moment. So now let's have a look inside of the ND91 3.5-inch. Now obviously the most common ones are these that anyone's seen on the internet are the 4-inch ones, but still this is going to be just as good. Man, those scissors are ridiculously sharp. So we are greeted here with the neodymium magnet. Oh man, that is just a nice looking woofer. Wow, it's actually relatively heavy for a neodymium speaker too. Vented pole piece, of course, and just look at it. That is going to be absolutely amazing in my rear speakers. There's the model number 2 if anyone was curious, if you want to go check this thing out for yourself. Amazing little speaker. This thing is going to have some ridiculous amounts of excursion, even in my rear speakers. You're going to be able to run a bit of bass to them as well. In the bottom here, we have a sealing gasket to prevent any air leaking outside of the sides of the woofer, even though there's already one here. So that might just be for extra protection if need be. Is that what it is? Yes, it is. So maybe if you accidentally damage this one or you just need more, there's an extra seal in there so you can prevent any air leaks. So there's the 3.5-inch ND91-8. I'm going to stick this to the side now, and let's have a look at an ND105, I believe that is, yes, -8. So this is the 8-inch, sorry, not the 8-inch. Imagine if they made an 8-inch one. Parts Express, hear me? You hearing me? I'm sure people would buy that. But here we are with the 4-inch speaker. Again, greeted with the, oh man, that's just one of a kind looking speaker. This thing is just, oh, it's stiff too. Wow, I'm actually surprised with that. This thing is going to be absolutely awesome. I can't wait to see this thing moving and pushing it to its limits with some vocals really loud in some movies. But anyway, there is the ND 105-8. I'm extremely excited to start this build. Now the reason I selected these as well, neodymium magnets, shipping becomes light. I believe this whole package here only was 25.6 pounds, which is reasonably light, and it saves me a fair chunk of money on shipping. But as well as that, they have nice aluminium cones here that match up perfectly with my Dayton woofers down here. So the actual cones together, they just look like they're a match made in heaven. So that's why I selected that. Again, on the back here, we have a foam gasket and a second one in the box here below the plastic. So again, if you need the extra one, there's one in there. So let's put that to the side. And now let's have a look at what will be the biggest component as far as it's going to be handling the most power and probably doing the majority of the work alongside the planar is going to be the left and the right tower, because I do, wow, that was some really bad cutting. I do mostly listen to music with this system in here, as everyone, wow, that is a lot bigger than I expected it to be from the back. Oh, that is a solid driver. I did not expect it to be that big in comparison to the 4-inch. Wow, that doesn't even look like a 5 1/4. That looks more of a 6-inch. That is a very nice speaker. I am extremely excited. Let's just grab the 4-inch here, just to compare them side to, that's the 3.5, sorry. Grabbing the wrong woofers here. Man, I've got just too many woofers around for me to pick up. But while I just quickly open the 4-inch woofer here, look at that. The actual difference between the two is actually ridiculous. The 5 1/4 looks a load bigger. Yes, it does. It looks a lot bigger than the 4-inch does. So again, the magnets look absolutely identical. Actually, the 4-inch one's a bit shinier and this looks a bit more matte. But aside from that, wow, I'm actually impressed. The 5 1/4-inch woofer is a lot bigger than I expected it to be. So 4 of these moving together in sync oh my God, I'm just imagining this build now. And the planar tweeter at the top. That's just going to look absolutely amazing. Guys, I am so excited for this build. I really, really hope you guys are too. Again, we have an extra gasket in the bottom of the box here to seal up if need be. Again, we still have another one on the back of the woofer here. But is there anything I've missed out that is of any relevance? Again, just packets of screws. Not that really anyone cares, but there's a packet of 100 black screws. I ordered 3 packets because I'm sure I'll use these in future builds, and I figured I might as well add them to the list, considering I'm going to be using a fair chunk of screws for this project because I have so many speakers that are going to be used. But man, here it is, the new build, guys. I hope you are as excited as I am. Of course, there will be build videos on the rears, the centers, and the front. It's gonna be 3 main build videos, and then there's just gonna be endless videos of these awesome speakers that I'm gonna be building to match these amazing subwoofers here. So together, this whole entire build is going to be absolutely awesome, and it's really going to make this theater system slash hi-fi system slash, it's gonna be loud, it's gonna just be awesome. Just dial this thing in, it's gonna be absolutely great. I'm so excited for this system here to be done, and I'm sure you guys are too. I've just got a few more things once I've done this I've got to do. I've got to make acoustic foam panels, got to get a new TV, I've got to fix the fans in my Cerwin Vega amp, and then God knows what else can happen to this system to make it any better. I might possibly build some speakers to go, or some subs I should say, to go in between the left and the right towers, in between these subs and the towers, which might just be like a dual 8-inch or dual 10-inch, which I run off the CV900 or the other 2800 depending on the total power rating at the end, in which I'll just make sure they are very nice sounding speakers. They'll be in a sealed enclosure just for tightness and accuracy and punch. But anyway, with that being said, guys, if you've liked this video, let me know with a like on this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, subscribe to my channel and turn on those notifications for these build videos when they go live, because they're going to be absolutely awesome. And I'm so excited for this to happen. If again, like this video, because it's just going to be absolutely awesome in the future now with this stuff here. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'm fairly certain I'm just repeating myself, but that is because I'm so excited and I'm just so distracted with the massive stack of speakers I have right here. But anyway, leave a comment down below. How excited are you on a scale of 1 to 10? And what build would you like to see first, be it the rear of the towers or the center speaker? Had to think then. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video, and I really hope you have enjoyed this one because this build is going to be awesome.